Good morning, all those out there in the world who love books, literature, who love the Lord Jesus Christ, who are this day bowing down before the throne of grace. This is Johnny. It is October the 3rd, 2020. It is 8:32 in the morning here. It is a Saturday morning. I know it's been 5 days since I made a video. I'm just kind of flowing in the dead zone. Writing in my diary this morning, I'm on page 931 for October the 3rd, 2020. My wife just left to go to the farmer's market and then to go to her sister-in-law's for a craft fair. So I just been kind of trying to wake up to this day. Still reading through the book of Numbers in the Holy Bible. Going through the Old Testament. As I said last month, I didn't know what to read in the mornings anymore, really, so I thought I'd just read through the Bible. So this morning I was in Numbers and I ended on chapter 30 of Numbers. And after Numbers is Deuteronomy, and then you get into, after Deuteronomy is the book of Joshua. I was looking at the book of Joshua. Was it Judges or Joshua? I can't remember. Anyway, reading through the Bible, still reading Biblical Theology According to the Apostles, how the earliest Christians told the story of Israel by Chris Bruno, Jared Kempton, and Kevin McFadden. It's a really good book. It's good to read this when you're going through the Old Testament, to read them in sequence. Also, I've been reading this in the mornings along with Old Testament Theology, Volume 1, Israel's Faith by John Goldingay. This is a three volume work. I bought it years ago. This came out in, it's a very massive work. This page is almost 935 pages. This came out in 2003, published by InterVarsity Press. It's a good tool to have if you're studying the Old Testament, going through the Old Testament. I recommend this. So I've read 463 pages of this. So I've been reading that. As far as what I've been reading when I'm been kind of lethargic lately, just kind of, I don't know what it is. Somebody sent me something in the mail. I usually don't get things in the mail from my viewers or people who watch my videos, but I got this in the mail the other day. It's kind of ripped up, but what it was some books on MP3. Somebody burned them and put them on these little CDs. This is The Bruised Reed by Richard Sibbes. The person who sent this to me, his name is Robert, didn't know that I have the complete works of Richard Sibbes. I thought I showed them in a past video. Maybe I'll show them in this month, the works of Richard Sibbes. He was a 17th century English Puritan. They call him the sweet dewdropper. Yeah, I've been reading Richard Sibbes for 40 years. He also sent me this CD. This is Pilgrim Theology by Michael Horton. Michael Horton is a contemporary Reformed theologian. I have this book too. It's his volume of theology, Pilgrim Theology. And this is from the works of John Owen, another 17th century English Puritan, Temptation of Temptation. I've shown you the works of John Owen. I have in our library. So I have all these books in book form, but I thank you for thinking of me. He also sent me this, which I don't have. American Gospel, Christ Alone. Is Christianity Christ plus the American dream? American Gospel, Christ Alone examines the prosperity gospel, the word of faith movement, as well as the role of moralistic preaching in distorting the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I thank you for thinking of me and sending these. Thank you for that. But yeah, I've been reading John Owen for 45 years. Richard Sibbes, 45 years. Michael Horton, I started reading maybe 20 years ago. Yeah, Michael Horton. I first read, I can't remember. But I've been collecting Michael Horton's works for a long time. What else I've been reading? Well, first of all, I mentioned that I had Carol, my wife, go to the local library and get the writings of Robert Dole, and I showed you his book, Here Are the Young Men. I showed you that novel, his first novel that he wrote in 2014. He's an Irish writer. He's gotten all kind of literary acclaim. And I wanted his newest novel, and this is it. She got it in a library alone. It's called Threshold by Robert Dole. And I've read almost half of this. It's more like I don't know if it's really a novel. It's more autobiographical, more of like I don't know how much of it is fictional and what is nonfiction. So it's kind of like, it's called a modern day Odyssey. I don't know. I would recommend reading this if you're into. Anyway, it just says here, Rob has spent most of his confusing adult life wandering, writing, and digesting literature and narcotics in equally vast doses. Now stranded between the reckless youth and middle age, between exaltation and despair, his travels have acquired to a de facto purpose, the eternal quest for transcendent meaning. So the main character, it's just this main character, whose name is Rob, who travels the world, going to South America, going to Asia, going to Sicily, and traveling and taking a lot of drugs and writing and talking about writing and talking about writers, his favorite writers. And there's really no character or plot or story. It's just this man named Rob and all his travels and reading and taking drugs. But anyway, I also got this book in the mail, The Time of the Musicians, Wittgenstein, Benjamin Caspar, and Heidegger, and the Decade That Reinvented Philosophy by Wolfram Edenberger. This is translated out of the German by, who translated this? Sean Whiteside. So I've been reading this. There's Wittgenstein. So I've been reading this. Also, I read this last couple of days. Wittgenstein's Poker, The Story of 2-Minute Argument Between Two Great Philosophers by David Evans and John Edenau. So I've been reading this. I've had this for a long time. I collect books on Wittgenstein. There he is there. So I've been reading this last couple of days. These two books. Oh yeah, here's my works. I just show you some on Ludwig Wittgenstein. This is his major works. He's very famous for this philosophical treatise. It's one of the most famous philosophical treatise of the 21st century. It's this. This is his major works. Ludwig Wittgenstein was born in 1889. He died in 1951. Was born in Austria. Studied at Cambridge under Bertrand Russell, having volunteered to serve in the Austrian army at the outbreak of World War I. He was captured in 1918 and sent to a prison camp, where he finished his only published work, Tractatus Logi Philosophicus, one of the most important philosophical works of all time. After the war, Wittgenstein eventually returned to Cambridge to teach. So, this is his major works. This is another book I have, Wittgenstein's Vienna, an account of the life and times and the culture of Augsburg's Vienna before World War I, the Vienna of Sigmund Freud, Arnold Schoenberg, Adolf Loos, Oskar Kuschakar, Modernism, Ludwig Wittgenstein, the great philosopher whose epic work was formed in the decline and fall of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. Yeah, there's a big chapter here on that Wittgenstein's Vienna. You have here this chapter here I've been reading. The Tractatus Reconsidered, an Ethical Deed. So what I do is I read this. You have here a chapter, Wittgenstein, the Man and His Second Thoughts. So I read that. I also have a big biography on Ludwig Wittgenstein by Ray Monk, The Duty of Genius. So I read these, you know, when last couple of days. I'm not really a philosopher. I'm a Christian Reformed theologian, but I like reading about that time period in Vienna. I have all kinds of books on Vienna before the First World War and after the First World War. I have a whole collection of those kinds of books. So I also went to thrift stores this week, and I found on DVD The One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Very famous. Jack Nicklaus starred in this. This is Ken Kesey wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and it was made into a movie. This came out, I think, in 1975. And then I found a memoir, Slackjaw. You Better Start Learning Braille Now by Jim Knephel. So I found that, and then I collect this novel by this Jewish writer. His name is A.B. Hushau, A Woman in Jerusalem. I have 4 other novels, well, 3 other of his novels downstairs in the lower level. This guy. This is translated out of the Hebrew by Hillel Hacken. This came out in 2004. And I found this essay by Isaiah Berlin, Hedgehog and the Fox. I collect Isaiah Berlin's writings. This is, yeah, so he wrote a whole bunch of stuff. He wrote a ton of stuff. The Hedgehog and the Fox, Essays on Tolstoy's View of History. And then I found this novel by an Icelandic writer. I can't pronounce his name. This is his only translated work in English. He's a poet. He's a novelist. I think he's a musician. But I found this at a thrift store and it looked kind of interesting. So I bought that. And then I found a memoir of Antonio Fraser. Antonio Fraser, a very famous British historian. My History, a memoir of growing up. I have all her books, but I didn't know this is one of her memoirs. She wrote a memoir of her marriage to a very famous British playwright. I have, anyway, these are the books I found at thrift stores and what I've been reading, and major works by Ludwig Wittgenstein. So I've been reading the Wittgenstein's Poker. This is by David Edmonds and John Endo. Reading The Time of the Musicians. Reading, I'm not reading this thing from page to page, just glancing through it. Same as this. Reading Threshold by Rob Dole. Reading the Old Testament and the Bible. Writing in my diary, just kind of drifting through existence. So that's it here. Just kind of, I get up in the mornings, I write in my diary, drink coffee, I read the Bible and other books until noon, and I doze, I eat lunch, I write. My wife, sometimes we go out to thrift stores where we go for a drive and read in the evenings books like this. Reading The Threshold by Rob Dole, and before you know it, 5 days have gone by and I haven't made a video. But I do thank you for all the new subscribers. I do thank you for your comments. I do pray during this COVID plague that you're not sick. And now we have Washington, D.C. is being slammed with this plague. And so what can you do? So, I hope you're all doing well, and hope you had a good reading week and have a good reading weekend. Next week we go to the fall. We are in fall now. It's here in West Michigan. It's been cold and dreary and frost on the ground. So I'll sign off, write in my diary some more. I'll read this morning and read some Old Testament theology, Israel's gospel. And before you know it, this day will be over and we'll go into a Sunday and a new week. So once again, thank you for your comments and subscription. And until next time, Bye.